Hi, I'm Alison from Alison's Astrology, and I'm here to talk to you about the week that begins on Sunday, February the 2nd and goes through to Saturday, February the 8th, 2025. And we're beginning this week with kind of the tail end of that Saturday conjunction. It was Saturday evening between the North Node, Venus, Neptune, and the Moon, all conjoining around 28, 29 degrees of Pisces. And that actually sort of kind of culminated around 10:30 p.m. In the UK. So that's 11:30 p.m. in Europe. So romantic and musical, probably spiritual, creative, very dreamy actually, and ruled by, or co-ruled, I should say, by Jupiter and Gemini currently stationing. So thinking about how all those dreams can start to move forward, discussing how you can do things, the research stage now coming to its end. So pretty much a Pisces weekend actually, as you kind of move through all that, and hopefully romantic as well. And then we move into the week ahead, and it's pretty busy at the beginning of the week actually, with things slowing down a little bit towards the weekend, although not on Sunday, the following Sunday the 9th, but that's for next week. But slowing down towards the weekend, Thursday, Friday, to give us the opportunity to process all the new information and stuff that's maybe been happening and coming into our lives. So let's just have a little look at the chart. I will share that now with you. Yeah, there we go. And there we have the chart for the week. That's great. So we can see that conjunction there in Pisces. I'm just going to move that down a bit actually. See that conjunction there in Pisces. And then as we move on, what we have first of all on Monday the 3rd is the moon is conjoining Chiron, so coming together with Chiron and then simultaneously squaring that Mars in Cancer. And this can feel quite protective and emotional actually. And Chiron can be where there might be some kind of wound or sensitivity, can be where there's, a problem of some kind perhaps that's come in, or something you just need to kind of work through and deal with. Something that feels a bit difficult anyway. And there's themes of family and tribe here in focus. So there might be some anxiety involved. But the best advice is always just keep breathing deeply. Try and stay grounded. Get out for a walk, get out in nature. Try and just stay grounded. It's always the best thing to do if you're feeling anxious. And the breath, I'm a yoga teacher, I do know, is our most valuable resource. So lengthening the breath, breathing deeply. And later that evening, actually, Mercury is making its lovely flowing trine to stationing Jupiter in Gemini. So that's intensifying all the discussion and facilitating the exchange of ideas and options. So discussion is going to be around the themes of physical resources, probably. That could be our bodies, it could be the planet we live on, could be something else, but that's because the Mercury is currently in Aquarius and it's ruled by that Uranus in Taurus. So there we go. So that's where the theme of resources comes in. Yeah, so that's important and that's interesting. And so then later on that morning of the 4th, it's a really important day, the 4th of February, actually. The Mars-Chiron square comes together. I don't know if you can see that here on the chart. No, because I haven't got the 4th up. So here we are, look. We've got the Mars-Chiron square. There it is, there's Chiron, and it's square to that Mars, both at 19 degrees. So especially important if you've got anything at 19 degrees of cardinal signs. That's Cancer and Aries. And gosh, where am I going with this? Cancer, Aries. There's another one at the end. There's definitely Capricorn. And I do feel I've missed one here. Anyway, Libra, that's the one. And yeah, so those 4 cardinal signs. So if you have anything around 19 degrees there, that will probably impact you. You will feel that in some way. So just be prepared for that. And it could be putting family themes again into even sharper focus and heightening those emotions. Mars in Cancer, it has been very emotional, I think, the last few months, especially as Mars has been retrograde. And So again, we have that idea of an emotional challenge, perhaps. So breathing, staying grounded, always the best advice. And this is a square in the retrograde cycle because Mars here, you can see that is actually in red. So that means he's still moving back through Cancer. It's a planet that will actually start to move forward at the end of February. So we can look forward to that. And the retrograde cycle, so often you have 3 squares in a cycle. I think I have mentioned this before. The first kind of square introduces a theme. The second square can kind of go over that theme and introduce a new thing into the story, if you like. And then we'll come back to the waxing square, which happens on the 23rd of March. And that's when these things that are in focus now and are feeling maybe quite painful or anxious can be probably revisited in a more positive way. So that's always something to look forward to, remembering the cycles in astrology. And then around 8 a.m., 8 in the morning, in Europe, Venus is moving into Aries. So now she's going to be ruled by Mars as well. And, you know, feeling that tribal, emotional, nostalgic Mars concerned with family and self-protection. However, Venus in Aries is clear about what she wants and she will fight for it, even if she's going about it in a kind of sideways fashion because Mars is in Cancer, crab-wise, you know. But it's maybe not time for her to really dive into action yet because, as I mentioned before, Mars isn't ready. It's retrograde until the 24th of Feb. But Venus will be preparing the ground now, you know, getting her weapons kind of sharpened and everything so she can put her plans into place to go forward when Mars does turn direct. So then later on the 4th, hooray, Jupiter is turning direct, 11 degrees of Gemini, and some of that tension that has been building, perhaps, especially for those amongst us who are Pisces and Sagittarius or have those on the ascendant. Thank goodness, a bit of release, and we can look forward to a new cycle of growth and expansion, all of us. And in Gemini, this is going to have themes of siblings to start with, learning, ideas, community, all those kinds of things. And it might even be business oriented actually, because Mercury ruling Gemini, there can be a business theme to Gemini too, I feel. So check out the chart, and I've put the houses in the box below, so you can see which area this is playing out in for you. So which area is that? Jupiter, which is just here, look, moving direct. So in this chart, as you can see, it's in the first house. So that's going to be in the way you approach the world. But I've put a little list below, so check that out. And it's a general signal, actually, for everyone that the research stage is over. I mean, Gemini, retrograde in Gemini, Jupiter has to be about researching how we're going to go forward, how we're going to grow, how we're going to expand. And now it's time to begin the actual negotiations and discussions. So you'll probably be feeling this positive shift, and especially, as I mentioned, if you're Sag or Pisces, or probably as well if you're Virgo or I can't remember all the signs. So, or Gemini, of course. Yeah, you'll feel that too. So all the mutable, changeable signs, which are always adapting and trying to find new ways to do things, shifting, adapting to circumstances. And especially, of course, if you have planets or angles around 11 degrees of those mutable signs. And again, that's Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. And there might be some challenge now to get that new project started, and how are you going to go ahead and take that first step? And maybe actually another thing, it might be coinciding with some communication or information that you've been waiting for. That could be another, you know, Jupiter moving forward in Gemini theme. Or you might finally finish some editing or something you've been working on and it's ready to move out into the world. And all the air signs, that's Libra and Aquarius, they'll be receiving this by trine, this lovely, I mean, Gemini, obviously it's a conjunction, but the air signs, they'll be receiving it by trine, lovely flowing aspect, suggesting just ease of growth and a kind of feeling of good fortune, actually, for things that you might have been working on for a while now, starting to come together and show some actual, starting to come to fruition, if you like, starting to show their promise. So that's great. And, if you do have a planet or an angle around 11 degrees of Gemini, this direct station, it might even bring you luck. I always feel that Jupiter actually is associated with luck. And, when Jupiter's in a good place on our charts or in a good place by transit, I feel luck is things just kind of come more easily. With Saturn, you have to work, but with Jupiter, stuff can just come to us more easily. So, that's kind of the big news for this week. But then early on Friday morning, Neptune makes its exact conjunction with the North Node in Pisces. So this has been building, hasn't it? And it was biggest of all at the weekend that the node goes backwards and forwards. So that's fine. And then it finally, it makes that conjunction actually on Friday. So that in itself is quite interesting, that's a sort of a peak point, a culmination point in that Neptune cycle in Pisces. Neptune ruling Pisces, once it leaves, which it will have done conclusively by the end of the year. It's not going to be back for, I think it's 168 years or something like that. Anyway, not in our lifetimes, that's for sure. So it does feel a little bit like a destiny moment, especially if you're connected to that 28 degrees of Pisces point with your chart or something else, in your life. But we're not quite done with it yet, so we won't dismiss it yet. We've still got the Sun coming through to conjunct the North Node and Neptune at the end of March too. So there's various... Neptune still has things to do in Pisces, let's put it like that. So that's about it for the week, and join me for another packed week next week with the Sun-Mercury Cazimi on the Sunday the 9th. So that's going to be quite important, actually. I do love a Sun-Mercury Cazimi. That's actually on the 21 degrees of Aquarius. So if you've got anything around there, that's interesting. And then there's a full moon in Leo. So that's always big news. So if you have enjoyed the video, please do click on that like button and press subscribe, and that's always good. It tells the YouTube bots that, that you want to see more of it, and that's always really helpful for me. So thanks very much, and look forward to speaking to you again next week.